Hello, hello. I think I hear myself. Hopefully you hear me. Otherwise, we'll be doing this over again. Come on in. All of my stuff wasn't there when I went to use it again, which is par for the course. So, this is a second take. I already deleted the first 5 minutes because I couldn't hear myself on my phone. So I didn't think it was recording. So, come on in, sit down, have a cup of tea. I've got me iced tea today. Take a load off for a few minutes. I shouldn't be here very long. But, let's see. I hear sound. Take a load off for a few minutes. I shouldn't be. There we go. Okay. I don't normally use these things. I used to be a DJ once for about 3.5, 4 years. So I was used to the big old headsets. And I've just gotten away from that. No, I forgot. Now you can see who's talking. I think. Anyway. I'm so tired of this. Every time. Having to start over again and refigure things out, and it sucks getting old. I'm quoting my former mother-in-law, who has since passed over, but boy, she was right. It sucks getting old. And it's getting suckier all the time, if that's a word. Anyway, I just wanted to pop on briefly because for about 5 minutes my hair was decent. Not so much now. Because 5 minutes are up and everything goes right down the tubes. I went and saw my sister yesterday and we had a grand old time. She made, I went over, we do nooners. We get together around noon and do running around and whatever. But this time I came over to her place to work on our gnome paintings. And she decided she'd go ahead and make lunch first. So we sat down and we had vegetables and mashed taters and gravy and pork chops. And I haven't had pork chops in a very, very long time. So I asked her how she made them, because anytime I've made pork chops, they're always very dry and not tender at all. And so she told me what she does is she browns them on both sides, puts them in an oven pan, covers them with foil, seasons them however she wants to season them before she covers them. Don't know if she put any liquid in. I'll have to check with her on that. And then she bakes it for like an hour at 350. That's pretty simple. So next time I go to the grocery store, I'm going to get me some pork chops, and I'm going to see if I can duplicate what she did. And if she can, if I can, then that's a new item on my menu that I can choose from. I don't know if you noticed, but hey, I got me a new chair because the other one was so brittle, it was digging into me. So I went, it's time. Plus, it doesn't hold the air anymore and you just suddenly disappear. So I got me that. And so then after we had lunch, we started working on our gnome stuff. And I can't remember her name. And I'm probably doing this out of order. Well, we're going to talk about something else as well. So we'll do that first, and then we can see if I can find the other thing about the gnome paintings. So, I was sitting here going through my YouTube stuff and came across, I had saved the Hillbilly Kitchen. I forget why now. But there was peasant bread, basic yeast bread, no need, 4 ingredients. 4, that's all. So let me show you. This is the episode she was talking about. Excuse me. Okay, I have to think on what I'm doing here. So this is what she's talking about. Hopefully you saw that. Yeah. Oh. So she goes through the whole scenario, tells you there's like, it's flour, yeast, salt, sugar, and warm water. Now you can, and the yeast is dry yeast, okay? So she goes through the whole thing, and this is the Hillbilly Kitchen down home. And she's got, well, I'll show you. I'm going to try this classic meatloaf next. But see all the goodies? And here's the one that I just recently saw. And it seems like there was something else I must have seen. And it might have been fudge. Real easy fudge. So that's one thing that is interesting, and I'm going to continue to check that out. And now let's see if I can go to here we go. Michelle the Painters. Michelle the Painter. And this is where we were inspired. We made this one. Yeah, we made this one. My sister and I. And that was the cardinal. She makes some beautiful, beautiful things. She's very talented, and she sips wine while she's doing stuff. Well, I don't know. Is that gonna... Oh, okay. How to paint flowers, 1, 2, 3. Videos. That's why I couldn't get it to go any further. Because I need all of them. Because we have to go back a while. But you get an idea. Get an idea of all the neat things that she's painted. Just absolutely gorgeous, and she takes you through them step at a time. Oh, there's another gnome one. That was 5 months ago. Halloween gnomes. But that's okay. And I thought this was cute too. But it's been a while since Sandy and I, Sandy being my sister. Actually, it's been a couple years. This will take a while to find it. But I want to show you how close. It's never going to be identical. Never. I mean, you just can't. Even if she did the same thing and followed her tutorial, it would not be identical. Because there's always a slight difference in the shade of the colors or, you know, whatever. Different texture, different brush strokes. She's got several gnome things. So if you're into gnomes, which we never used to be. I mean, I thought they were cute. And my sister, we went somewhere. And we picked up it was at the counter. All right, man. There we go. It's a little Christmas gnome. So, we got into that. Let's see if I can find it. Because I want you to see, I'll show you what I painted. And just between my sister and I, both of us following the same instructions, there's a difference between our painting. And that's to be expected. I should have had this all ready to go, but I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do anything. Here's another gnome. Mom and baby gnome. So I find it intriguing. Okay, that's Easter. Ooh, unicorn. I don't remember seeing these. But then I haven't been checking her stuff out. Other than my sister's the one who found her channel and say, hey, how would you like to get together and, you know, try some of this stuff? And I went, okay, sounds good to me. Now, these are like 2 years ago. And the reason I'm going back that far, right, that's Christmas, so we need to go back just a little bit further to Halloween, because I think it was Halloween 2 years ago. Halloween 2 years ago that we started doing these things. Because, oh, it's 3 years ago, because this was Halloween of 21. Well, let's keep going then. But you can see a variety of different things that she paints. And she does the instruction version, and then she does a time lapse as well. I'm sure there's probably a faster way to do this, but beats me. Well, the faster way is to have had it done before I even started. I'm not seeing my baby. Of course, I might be skipping right past it. All right, that's 3 years ago. Christmas. 3 years ago. She goes from whimsical to... I don't know what some of her other paintings are. Oh, look at the horsey. I like horses. Okay, come on. Nope. Are we not getting there? 3 years ago. Four years ago. Oh, well, I don't know when she actually did the image. Well, that's as far back as we go. No, it wasn't live. She's got hats, apples, shoes. Does she have gnomes? Autumn. She's got 31 in autumn. Beagle and the Broom. Let's see. Nope. I don't see it here. Okay. Let's find the right button to push here. And we'll go back to just me. It's just me. Okay. Well, then let me show you. This is what Sandy and I did for autumn, going by her how-to paints. And that's Michelle the painter. And it's the paint and sip, because she takes a sip after she rinses her brush out and takes a sip. So we managed to do that pretty nicely. And Sandy did all the work. She printed out, there's an outline of this character in the pumpkin that you print out, put carbon paper or however you want to transfer the image onto the canvas. And it's a, what is this? It's an 8 by 24, I think, is the size of the canvas. And, are you getting dizzy yet? And, what was I saying? Oh, you transfer it onto the canvas, and then you're good to go. And then you start following the instructions and, do what she says. So there were, because there's two of us, in different, she's very creative all on her own. She's the one that, I think I've shown some of the cards that she makes. Like, here's one that she made that says, "Have an amazing day." And that's nothing compared to what some of the others are. I just don't have one handy. So because we like this one, then we decided, well, and I added the touch of the glitter to make it sparkle a little more, because I got to have sparkle. Got to have a little bling. So that's the Halloween gnome, or the fall autumn gnome. So then we had to have a winter gnome. And here's the winter gnome. So again, it's the same basic character, the gnome, and you place it on your canvas and you go from there. And again, in this one I added, I don't know if you can tell, I added a little bit of metallic paint and glitter paint, especially on the snowman and where the snow is. Whoop. So somehow we skipped to July, summer. So I came up with the idea of what to do for summer. So we did this for summer. 4th of July, there's fireworks going off up here. And it's, Purple Mountain Majesties and Fruited Plain and all that. But he's bland. I mean, when you compare him, because I'm pretty sure she did this one as well. I'm pretty sure she did the winter one tutorial. But see, it's just not as vivid. So I got to go back over this and really punch it up. And add sparkle. Got to have sparkle. Got to have bling. So, if you will have noticed, we skipped a whole season. And so I have been mentioning Sandy. We did like one a year. We did one in 21, 22, last year, 23. And I kept mentioning there, we got to do another one. We got to have a whole set. Because we had skipped spring for various reasons. I don't really know everything that was going on. So, this is what we worked on. My design. See, again, the basic form of the gnome is the same because that's what we trace onto it. And then we do our own thing. We can have the sky go up as high as we want or as low as we want. So it's rain, and I forgot to make dashes to make it look like it's still raining. But you got a little ducky in the pond, and different flowers. And I used pastel colors in his hat for, spring and Easter and all that. But I don't like how dark my umbrella is. I like the sky, but I need to finagle the sky a bit. And I'm going to make the umbrella a lighter color. And then add bling. Gotta have bling. So that's what I did day before yesterday. And it was pretty productive. So now I have a spot on the wall when you go into my kitchen. And you have the thermostat right there on the right hand side. So I've got a section before I have started other pictures. So I put one of these, whatever season we're in, I hang it right above the thermostat. So I have to change it out. Don't have to, but I do. And I think it's pretty neat. I just got to get these last two to look closer to the other two with more shading and variation of color and bling. So that's what I'll be working on. What are you working on? What do you do to be creative? I'm also trying to, and I don't know if that, I'm also trying to grow some carnations and daisies. Because something else I've started to do a lot is when I'm at the grocery store and I've got an extra $5 to $15, I buy a thing of flowers, cut flowers, and I keep it on my my living room is small, but I use half of it with a dining room table, and then the rest of it, because it's just me here, rest of it, couch and TV and chair and table. Anyway, I started keeping flowers on the table. And I was like, I'm going to build me a raised bed. Maybe if I'm smart enough, I'll take pictures along the way. A raised flower bed, and going to plant a mess of carnations and daisies and maybe some cosmos and baby's breath, whatever, so that I can have my own cut flowers whenever I want. So that's the intent, and that's the goal. Let's see what happens. And who knows? Once the weather gets better, this up and down just wipes me out. I mean, I am already exhausted and pushing myself every day. It's taken me 3 weeks to get the kitchen almost done. I've got 3 items and the floor that still have to be washed. Because every time the weather changes, it's like a plug gets pulled on me. And whatever little bit of energy I did have just goes away. It's ridiculous. So once the weather evens out, then I can get busy to building that. But I must say, I was proud of myself. It was like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks by now. It was a decent day. It was it might have been in the 60s, but barely. And it wasn't raining, and I had a little bit of energy, and so I grabbed my reciprocating saw. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I've got a tree that's been growing at the end of the corner of the house. It started underneath a bush and grew up, and I never really realized it was there until a few months ago in the fall. I wanted to do this in the fall, and I never got to it. So I went out there with my little reciprocating saw, and I did a wedge cut, and then I sawed through it. And the whole time I'm kind of saying, okay, God, you're going to have to protect me here because I don't know what I'm doing. And he did. I had a little bit of a touch of the tree hitting me when it broke loose. It kind of hit me a little bit, but just a touch. Just, yeah, I've been watching over you. And the very tips of some of the leaves kind of went across the neighbor's car, but it didn't scratch it. So I managed to do that. But now there's a stump, a tall stump. The tree's about that big around, and now there's a tall stump that I'm going to have to go through and slice up. The tree that I cut down and some of the bushes that it went up through, some of them I'm guessing are butterfly bushes, because when I first moved in, there used to be dragonflies all over this thing. But it's gotten so tall, they call it a second-story flower now, because you have to be up there to see the flowers and everything. So I'm slowly working on trimming it, doing some serious trimming on it, and cutting everything way back, so that it can rejuvenate, or it opens everything up. And if it ends up killing it, Eventually, I want to redo the front of the house anyway and the corner. But in the meantime, I can start cutting back on. And there's this one bird. I don't know if it's the same bird all the time, but it gets on one of those limbs, and the living room window is right there. Keeps trying to come in through the window or something. I don't know what it's doing. So I have to open the drapes so it can tell, no, you can't go in here. So I'm hoping by cutting back on that, that bird will stop hurting itself. Don't know why it does it, but oh well. So anyway, I'll be working on that, on the flowers, on the gnome seasons, and next time I go to the grocery store, I gotta go back and look at that meatloaf. I'm going to bring it back up again. Hillbilly Kitchen. I don't know. Would you like to know what the meatloaf thingy is? Let's take a quick look at it. Let's take a quick look at it. Okay, we're back at the Hillbilly Kitchen. How to make classic meatloaf. I've got this on mute so you don't hear everything. Oh, this is from 2 years ago. And she's got a cookbook. I'm skipping ahead. Yeah, so you want to be careful. I'm skipping around. That looks like green peppers. Here we go. A pound of ground beef, 2 tablespoons ketchup, half a cup barbecue sauce. A sleeve of saltine crackers, 1 egg, half a cup chopped. Must have run out of room. Why did she do it like that? Green bell pepper, that's what I thought. Onion, salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder to taste. And in the video, there's a lot of substitutions. She's from Tennessee. So I think the only thing that I wouldn't put in there would be the bell pepper, because It's hard in my stomach. And I'm not too sure about the barbecue sauce and the ketchup. I usually use tomato sauce, but my stomach can't handle tomato sauce anymore either. So I don't think it would handle the barbecue sauce. So I'll have to watch the video and see what she puts in there instead of. Preheat your oven. And I'm not making fun of her accent. My mama was from West Virginia. I lived for a while in Pennsylvania. I have a tendency to go into a southern drawl real easy. And she cooks a lot with her cast iron because of the benefits. And plus, country cooks do that. Looks like she covered it with foil. So anyway, too many things going on. I can't figure out where I am. So that looks interesting. I think I'm going to try that. But first, I'm going to try the peasant bread. Did we already go through that? We must have. Yeah. She has another recipe on here, on her site, that has no yeast. So that's one to try too. But first I'm going to try the what she calls peasant bread, the basic yeast bread. 2 cups of flour, a teaspoon of dry yeast, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of sugar or honey. I might try the honey version. 1 cup water or milk. And she says doing any different will change the taste. So I think I'm going to try honey yeast bread, homemade. You add it all together and stir it. And you cover it up. Put it in a warm place until it doubles in size. We all know that from yeast instructions. Then you put it in whatever baking pan you're going to put it in. You're going to bake it in. And you set it aside for about half an hour. I guess it lets it, get comfy. And then you bake it. You put it in the oven at 350 for 30 to 35 minutes until it's nice and golden brown. Before you put it in your baking dish, she uses a fork and she pulls the dough away from the edges and then scrapes it in order to get it in the baking dish. So you don't have to get your hands all cruddy, which is how I used to do it. So this whole recipe just looks fantastic to me. And you pull it out of the oven, you let it cool for a few minutes. But we know how people can't wait to get into that nice, fresh, hot bread. But you need to let it cool for about 10 minutes, maybe, up to 10 minutes. And then some people, once it's completely cool, it's easier to cut. Otherwise, you end up squishing it. But she has a real nifty bread knife that she used in the video. So that's something maybe to invest in someday, if I decide to do this. So anywho, I just thought I'd pop on and touch base and say, hi, still here. Sort of. And let you know about the gnomes and this nifty recipe that I just found. So, I hope everything is going well for you. And, you're dealing successfully with everything that's going on. God bless you. Keep praying. That's the number one thing to do. When you don't know, especially when you don't know what else you can do, or if you don't feel you can do anything else, pray. Because He can do it. Keep it in God's hands. Because He's the master. He can do it. So, until the next time we get together, You guys take care, and God bless.